Humanity deserves our admiration. We see all the time in the news, on social media, even in conversations with our friends, that we're discussing the negative aspects of what we are capable of. But if we don't see the beautiful things that we are capable of as a species, how are we supposed to see the beautiful things that we are capable of as individuals? Black people getting killed on the street for no reason in the United States. Companies doing terrible things to the environment for the sake of profit. You can name 100 other examples that are very easily on the top of your brain, right? But how easily can you state examples of positivity, of moments where you've seen real human excellence in a moral sense? Difficult. That's why I'm making this video today. And that's why I make most of the videos on this channel. To remind you guys that, and myself, that it's very important to have an optimistic outlook on life. It's very important to have a good message to deliver to others and to accept in your own life. So let me give you some reminders of why we're such a beautiful species. Look at the things that we've created, right? Like look at the artwork that we've created, the cultures that we've created, the incredible buildings, the housing that we've created to allow many people to have situations where they can think about more than just survival. And sure, many people in the world still are thinking about survival. We have a long way to go. But think about how far we've come already. Right? That alone should be a reason to celebrate. That alone should be something that we take into our hearts and say, hey, we've made so much progress, so much positive progress. Think about, for instance, the little acts of kindness and joy that we see on the street when you're driving by, maybe if you live in a city somewhere, right? Think about people laughing, people having a good time, to enjoy, to hug one another. Someone helping you out when they don't necessarily have the time or the space to do so. Very important. Very important to see these little things in life, but we often miss them. And if we keep missing these things, if we keep having a mentality that allows us to look past the beautiful things, then how are we supposed to have any sort of change in our society, right? Any sort of progress in the things that we're trying to achieve? We can't. We can't. We need to first and foremost have a good feeling about the very society that we dwell in. Without it, where are we? We're lost as a species and as individuals. Fine, we destroy the environment. Fine, we're working towards a completely different paradigm in the globe. But I'll tell you right now that despite humans being around, this would have happened anyways. Perhaps not as quickly, but the world has gone through cycles of ice age, cycles of global warming, cycles of carbon being exposed to the atmosphere before. It's a natural part of the process. But we are also a natural part of the process. The creation of sentient life that can make a tremendous difference on a planet. And that's something that we need to come to accept. Otherwise, we won't actualize our potential, right? So fine, we destroy the environment, but look at the amount of companies, the amount of non-profit organizations, the amount of philanthropy that's going on to make that better, right? To actually improve desertification in areas, to give people access to more fresh water, to plant new trees. Ecosia, which is a search engine. Every time you search something, it'll go and plant a tree. China used almost an entire military to go and plant trees all over the country, right? We have the ability to see where we're headed, and we know how to fix it, and then we honestly do take action. We try really hard to do that. That alone merits some sort of faith in the process. Incredibly important. Doctors, What is a doctor? Doctor in Latin means teacher. Some of the most well-paid, most potentially morally righteous people, and you might disagree too. You might be saying, okay, there's counterexamples to all this, and I agree. But I would encourage you to look at things more positively. I say this because I am trying to look at things more positively. Because in the process of making 120 videos so far on emotional intelligence, yes, I've had to do a little bit of searching, a little bit of soul searching, and realize where my shortcomings are. And I have plenty of them. But that doesn't mean that I'm a bad human being. That means that I am trying, honestly trying, to spread positive messages into the universe, into people's heads, whoever watches these videos. It's very, very important that we grasp this in ourselves and start looking at the positive things a little bit more. Because without it, we're kind of headed in a scary place, right? All of this hopelessness and this despair that I'm trying to make this video against, it's prominent. It's in the face because it's easy. It's easy to say that something is a problem. It is difficult to say this is the solution. Because oftentimes we don't have the energy or the time to look past the problems. We don't have the state of mind or the presence to understand them. So what are some things that we can do to start looking at things more positively? To start actually valuing our species as it should be valued, probably on a grander scale than just this planet? Well, the first thing I already kind of talked about, this positivity, this trying to look at the upshot of things. When someone comes to you or to me with a new idea, it should be our prerogative to say, okay, sure, it's a bit strange. Sure, it's not something that we've encountered before, but we are willing to give it a chance, an honest chance, new opportunities, new beliefs, new technologies potentially that come into being, right? To say to ourselves that it's not going to be negative right off the bat. In fact, whether or not it's negative or positive is how we perceive it and how we decide to use it. A perfect example of this is social media. I see so many people that are subscribed to channels that often just instigate, you know, and come up with potentially ferocious arguments instead of being kind and instead of going forward and trying to follow pages or people that are actually trying honestly to improve things in a positive way, a culture of positivity. So few of those things already exist that I understand it could be a little hard for us, for me and you, to find them. But I think it should be our motive to go and find these things. And when we do find them and when we do agree with them, to say to ourselves, hey, let's share this with people. Let's share this positivity with the people that we love. How hard is it to look at something and instead of just liking it, to then go and share it with our community? And I suppose it also comes down to a lack of self-belief a lot of the time. I remember prior to me starting this YouTube stuff and doing the social media thing, I thought to myself, why should I put myself out there? What are the benefits of doing something like this? In fact, many times I've heard that there are very few benefits of doing things like this, that it could rot your brain in this metaphysical sense. And so I stood away from it. But then I realized after a while, I was like, well, I have all these ideas. And from what I've heard from people that I've talked to, apparently I'm a pretty positive person and I have insight on certain things. Perhaps I should step up to the plate and say, hey guys, this is what I have to think. This is what I have to say, and these are the things that I stand for. Difficult for most, sure. But it's really only one click away, and it makes a drastic difference. The third thing that we can do, besides just flipping our philosophy, probably a pretty difficult thing to do, but flipping the things that we pay attention to and actually taking action on some of these things, is make service a part of our mission. So many of the people that I follow, that I respect a lot on the internet, and just, the internet is not some sort of weird metaverse where things don't exist. It's not there yet, in my opinion. Sure, in the future we might have a bunch of videos that are AI generated that might not even be real, but they look really real, but we're not really there yet. People are actually posting the things that you see. Like organic organisms, our species is actually on the other side of the screen. Like, I exist. If you don't know me, I'm here, right? We have the ability to say to ourselves that either these people aren't real, this is just something that I'm watching for entertainment, or to actually realize that the people behind the screen are trying to tell you something and they're struggling with the same things. But the people that I trust the most, the people that I respect the most, on the other side of that screen, say the Tony Robbins, Dalai Lama, you know, maybe some Oprah in there, maybe, you know, anyone that's trying to spread good vibes, The Rock, right? They have made it their purpose, part of their mission in life, to spread positivity, a life of service. And many of them also advocate strongly for incorporating that into your life, into our life. And this is why, part of the reason why I started to Robify. Because I want to have service in everything that I do. Outside of this, I'm a doctor, I'm a dentist, right? So I try to serve people as much as I can. But I believe that a lot of the time I won't have necessarily the time in that moment to go deeper into people's problems, because the system that I've set up so far doesn't allow me to do that. So that's why I'm here, trying to have a little bit more service incorporated into my life, that I spend hours, you know, a week trying to spread positive messages. And I do this because the people that I respect, the people that are my role models, told me that, hey, living a life of service is a beautiful thing. And guess what? Sometimes I feel lonely. Sometimes there's things going on in my life that are out of my control. But when I can come home and when I can do something that I genuinely believe in and actually try to make a positive impact, it is healing. It does feel good. So there's some things to try out. You may hear sirens. You may see explosions and negativity. But don't lose faith in your fellow human being. Please don't. In fact, build it up. Show people the beauty inside of you. I made this video yesterday, actually, about a similar topic. Check it out if you have some time. And remember, my friend, actualize your potential. We need you. Take care.